Now, Benj, let's get into it. This is the game I think that we all maybe circled on our calendars as the primo matchup. Atletico Madrid versus Manchester United.
What?
And the reason I say that, Benj, really quick, is that they're kind of similar. They have all this talent, but I don't feel like they've actually reached their potential. What do you say to that narrative?
I just can't believe that we don't all have Benfica versus Ajax circled on our calendar. The hipster's dream tie. You know, what do you think I grow this beard for? No, I feel like as much as, in many ways, because neither of these teams are actually that good, we don't think, it does feel like the whole round of 16 has been building to Atleti Man United, because you just, you know, we talk about it. I don't know if it's a phrase that's kind of entered the lexicon of US soccer, but out here in Europe, you have your Gazprom moments. Gazprom is kind of like one of the sponsors of the Champions League that we so associate with it, that you just kind of, if you say someone the Gazprom, everyone knows you mean the Champions League. But it's just, you know, it's going to serve up drama, stupidity, things you don't entirely understand. I think the Champions League as a whole is better for Atletico Madrid, having become a defensive team that can't really defend against good teams or even mediocre teams. And Manchester United are just like the most, I mean, as we saw against Leeds United, they are literally 20 seconds away from implosion at any minute. You know, I just pray that then we might get another storm or something, because it's spectacular. It's funny. It could be spectacular. It could be funny. It will almost certainly be dramatic. There's so many storylines, from Ronaldo to whether, you know, United need to find their own version of a Diego Simeone. It's going to be joyous. I don't know if the football's going to be any good, but the narrative. Oh.
It's a soap opera. I feel like both teams are having those, like a soap opera-esque type season. And just as a reminder, there's a nice rivalry, I guess, forming, or already existed, but it's been heightened by when Diego Simeone and Atleti played against Juventus a couple seasons ago. Atleti scored a late goal, and that's when Diego Simeone like went to the sideline, looked at the crowd, and like grabbed his huevos, you know, like he's like huevos. And then in the second leg, which Juve came back and ended up winning, Ronaldo scored and gave Simeone the old huevos thing. Ronaldo scored 25 goals in 35 appearances against Atleti in his career. Now it's just a matter of whether Ralph Rangnick actually plays them or not, because it seems like their relationship is a little bit. I mean, I think what we're seeing here is that Ronaldo looks like he refuses to accept that he's 37 years old, and he needs to be smart about his minutes if he wants to be effective and be good for 60 minutes almost in every game. And Rangnick, I think, is trying to take that into consideration while also trying to protect his very vulnerable back line, who can give up 2 goals in 2 minutes like we saw against Leeds. And when he got subbed off against Leeds and they brought on Varane, it made a lot of sense tactically, but it pisses off one of the best to ever do it in Ronaldo, who has that clutch gene, right? He always can step up, and he's very good at scoring goals late in games. So do you think Ronaldo's going to have an impact? Do you think Rangnick even starts him here? Like, what's your lineup? Let's just talk about Man United's lineup really quick, because I'm kind of curious who you think that Rangnick's going to go with.
Yeah, I don't know if Cavani will be fit, which might almost get Ronaldo the start by default. Although I do think, from what we saw, especially those Liverpool Atleti games, I would really be looking at how can I get as much pace into this front line as possible, really force mistakes, whoever's in the Atletico defense to commit. So I think we can be pretty certain that Sancho will start, whether it's a 4-2-2 or a 4-3-2-1 or 4-3-3, however he lines up. Sancho at the moment looks like
awesome.
The danger man, the player we saw at Dortmund, and someone that can really commit. Atleti's sometimes shaky left flank. I mean, you watch more of them than me. Has Ronaldo been playing very much for them? Because he was phenomenal in the group stage for Lille.
No, he hasn't. No, but he's slated to start in this one, so it should be a good matchup.
Yeah, he could be very important. But I mean, I think I want to put as much pressure on this Atletico defense as possible if I'm Rangnick, because I think under pressure it can buckle. But equally, Fred and McTominay again in the
Would you go with Pogba?
In your defense?
He was go with Pogba?
Phenomenal against Leeds, but
I love watching him play when he's feeling it. He is so good. It's so silky. I love it.
But then you have to probably play him on the left or drop Bruno. I mean, no one.
I think you dropped Fred. I mean, Fred was he used a spark plug when he came off the bench, and I don't know. It's possible.
I just think that leaves your midfield looks a bit light defensively then, and Varane and Maguire, they're not great together.
Yeah,
I think that's the joy of this game, and what we're going back to is there isn't a Man United lineup that Rangnick can put out that can make me think, oh, he's got it, that'll be fine, no problems. And equally, probably the same for Simeone. There just isn't the right balance there. So it's going to be a little bit whack-a-mole, but it'll be very fun.
No, it'll be fun. It's going to be a great game. And Jadon Sancho has been next level. Of any players that have actually benefited from Rangnick showing up, it's been Sancho. Like every single game, he gets a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And I'm pretty sure Rangnick and everybody else wishes the whole team was kind of following suit. All right, just really quick, a fun fact. Maguire's header, Harry Maguire scored the first goal against Leeds. That was United's first goal from a corner this season in the Premier League, in their 139th attempt. And Maguire said after the fact that I'm embarrassed by that stat. I'm a big part of that set play routine and trying to score from corners. As a team, we've been nowhere near good enough. If we scored more from set pieces, we'd be higher up the table. And he's exactly right. So I'm kind of curious to see if Manchester United can build on that in any particular way. And then about Atletico really quick, I think this is a good opportunity to really tap into Jan Oblak, who prior to this season was considered one of the best goalkeepers in the world. This season, though, I don't know what the drop-off is. I don't know why or where he is mentally, or if it's just because the defense has been a little bit makeshift because everybody's been hurt or suspended or whatever it may be. He only has 6 clean sheets this season, whereas I think at this point last year, he was already like close to 15 to 20, So I'm kind of curious to see if they can get after Oblak and just that defense, as you mentioned before. This Atleti team can hurt you. Luis Suarez feeling pretty good, scored a very good goal, maybe the goal of the season this past weekend against Osasuna. And I don't know. This is such. I honestly, if we get into tips and predictions here, I'm looking at the draw. I think that I could see a 1-1 here. I feel like Atleti sometimes look a little bit more relaxed away from home than they do at home for whatever reason. Another line I like is both teams to score at -115. -115, so you got to bet 115 to win 100. But I think we're going to see both teams score because they have the firepower to do so, and because how unpredictable and how inconsistent both defenses are. So I'm liking a 1-1, Benge. What are you saying?
Yeah, that sounds about right for me. I mean, one thing specifically on Oblak and the Atleti defense, I was literally just looking at this now, and it's always a little bit of a grey area, but this is already, of the last 5 seasons, this is already the most penalty kicks they've conceded in La Liga. So sometimes I think that Oblak is conceding a lot of goals because his defense is setting him up to do so.
That's fair.
Although it's also true that kind of when you look at like post-shot XG and all that goals prevented, he's massively down. So I think this is an off year. So for all those reasons, I think both teams score, but I don't think either team can quite dominate this tie enough. So yeah, 1-1 sounds about right to me.